Like the spoon bending. There's nothing special about, like, there's nothing needed except for release and belief and joy and just be getting lost in the moment. Getting lost in the moment is the most powerful state of being. And I mean, I agree with you. I am highly curious about the mechanics of this world.
Hey everyone, and welcome back to First Contact. Today on the show, we have the wonderful Zenka Caro. Now, Zenka is the founder of the Starseed Academy and LightNet, and also we met in Sedona. So it's beautiful to meet you again, Zenka, and thank you for joining us on the show.
Yeah, it's a real pleasure. I love what you're doing. I love who you are. It's great to see you.
Thank you. I can say the exact same about you. Now, we have some amazing topics to cover today. Just tell us a little bit first about your journey. I always like to ask people, how did you get into this work?
I didn't know what consciousness was. I was in technology. It was like all Greek to me. And I went to Esalen to like a digital rain conference that was about consciousness. I was just like, I don't even know what that is. I literally did not know what it was. And then one of the guys from Esalen that I met there did Reiki on me. And I had a massive, like all my chakras got aligned. They said, yeah, in one moment. And I saw my whole life pass before me and everything synchronized for weeks on end. And I felt like I was floating. I couldn't eat certain things. I was up all night watching TV. I didn't know what had happened to me. And so then I got just really curious about why hadn't I been told anything about how reality works. And I saw so much in that moment. And I was just like, this is the most important thing, the most miraculous thing, the most wild thing. And it felt like I had been living a fraud of a life. Like I felt like, how could they not tell you about all these secrets of consciousness? And so I quit my job. I mean, I was like, whoa. And I threw everything toward this mystery and talking about it and asking about it and finding people who knew about it. And now I'm actually like kicking the tires of reality to see how far this can go. And pretty much I've concluded that it's unlimited. And so now I'm just having fun going, well, let's do the craziest things we can think of, levitate, get out of wheelchairs, like find our purpose, get off addiction. Like, let's just do the impossible. And that's what my nonprofit does, is we study how people do impossible things, because it's all consciousness. Everything's consciousness. And we're designed to have these miraculous experiences in here when we let go and we believe in it all, and we heal ourselves and we stop blocking everything and we get out of consensus reality. And so that's been my journey and my fascination and my wonder. But I definitely have had two lives: before I understood any of this, and then afterwards, and going, wow, like, let's figure this out together.
Wow, that's so incredible. I can really feel your passion behind, like you said, just throwing everything at this. This is what I want to do. I got to ask you, Zenka, what's one of the craziest things that you've discovered so far that was just completely impossible, but you saw it happen before your very own eyes?
All sorts of things. I mean, we did a team once where we had ETs and past loved ones playing music on devices like apps and things like that. It was just like, wow. I think I levitated once. I saw someone be healed in front of me in a group just a couple months ago, like on crutches, 7, like things in her ankle. And then she walks like 6 minutes of like, oh, we're going to love you. She walks off across the stage. It's just, those quantum leaps are so surprising, where it's just like from one state to another, a person just flips over. And they used to do that in the church, or they do that in today, like the churches with the tongues, and they get in this state and it's like they start to believe that they could and be witnessed that they can go from point A to point Z in one moment, and they get up out of the wheelchair. It's just like, what is going on? And the things that have been surprising me in the last couple of years is that I don't know if it's all consciousness. Like, I guess my main question is, are we in here in this reality, and do we have contact with beings on the other side that can affect this reality? Because that's my main question now. It's like, I'm starting to feel that there is a heavy duty collaboration going on between us inside and outside. And maybe that's just my stupid belief, that makes me be able to do like not miracles, but I mean like band spins, like whatever. It's like, you have to have a hocus pocus. A hocus pocus is where you start to believe that anything can happen, whether it's going to see the guy that speaks tongues, a miracle healer, or whether it's like, I'm going to light the candle and then I'm going to say the blah, 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 or whatever hocus pocus, whatever takes you across the threshold of leaving consensus reality behind and lucid living, like living into the miracle that seems to be there, these quantum leaps that people can take. And that is the silver lining and the hope that each one of us can step into a life of no regrets, of pure satisfaction, of like coming home, of being ourselves. And that being yourself in this world is very, very fun and liberating, and it liberates other people. So he goes, and when you're yourself, it's like, then all these miracles happen. So I think I love seeing people that are lit up, and I love seeing instantaneous miracles. And those are the things. And I love having contact with the other side. Like, these anomalies are what just bend my head and go, what? That's so cool. Let's do it again.
Well, I have to question this, and I'm going to put on the scientific, pragmatic hat a little bit as well.
Perfect.
I think you and I both have a bit of a sciencey background, right?
Totally.
So we can go there. Okay, so what if, you're talking about these other beings, all these miraculous things happening in the hocus pocus. What if it's only hocus pocus because we don't understand it, and maybe there's a really logical method or technology that's operating behind the scenes that actually makes perfect sense?
It does make perfect sense. I think I may not have explained the hocus pocus well. When I say hocus pocus, I say like that there has to be some magical steps that help you believe in miracles, whatever that is to you. Like, every time I do this, I get this result. I think that, so you're right. Maybe I shouldn't be so cavalier to believe that whatever I believe just can come true. Maybe you're right. Maybe you do have to have, things in line, but this is not my reality, because we took people through the Starseed Academy, like teams after teams after teams. These people did not know what they were doing. And all of a sudden they're remote viewing. Their chakras weren't aligned. They weren't ascended masters, like the spoon bending. There's nothing special about, like, there's nothing needed except for release and belief and joy, and just be getting lost in the moment. Getting lost in the moment is the most powerful state of being. And I mean, I agree with you. I am highly curious about the mechanics of this world. And like I said, how is the interaction between worlds? What, my higher self, is this a dream? Are there other people helping? Can someone rearrange reality? How do I see all these things? Or is this just a big mirror of my mind? Like, I don't know.
I guess where I was coming from is that, the story of the shamans who see the water and they can't see the boat because they've never seen a boat before. Have you heard that story before? Yeah. So basically they look out on the water, they see the movement of the water, but they can't see the boat that's on it. So here in this reality, we experience miracles, but maybe the miracle is just like a galactic being waving something in the ether and changing something in another dimension, and then suddenly we experience it as a miracle, So I wonder if there is an orderliness to the miracle that we simply just don't understand yet, and that's part of the exploration of consciousness. That's my question.
And I think that's highly likely because, like, for example, I started going to restaurants, and the forks that were at my place were already bent. I went with my boyfriend, like on like the first or second date, all of a sudden it was like I opened up my napkin. I was like, oh, my fork's like completely bent. And I was like, that's weird. And then every time I would go to restaurants, the fork would be bent. And I was like, huh. And I went on a contact retreat recently, a silent retreat, and I flat out asked them, I was like, are you guys doing this? And they go, yeah, the ETs are doing that. And then I said, are you guys doing the miracle healings that I do for other people with Adam? And they were like, no. But I think that, Joe Dispenza and Lynn McTaggart, I have heard that people see beings doing that. So it may be just that, and I think, or it just, I don't know what it is. That's why I think it's important for us to start to research how we contact realms, other realms, and how we confirm that. And that's one of the things that I know about ET contact that I've read about and experienced is that Magellan ship, like you're talking about. So, in other words, Columbus came, he had this huge ship. The natives were like, I don't even see the ship. What are you talking about? And they only saw the small ships. So, when we see ETs in the physical, our brain goes, no idea what that is. I'm not, no. And then we forget. We say, like, oh, I don't remember. It's because your brain was in overwhelm and it stored the memory for another time because it didn't even know where to put it. It did, like, cannot process that. And it's like, I don't know what this is. So it just files it for later. And so I was thinking the other day how cool it would be to have virtual reality and augmented reality experiences where you're face to face with ETs. So your brain can start experiencing that experience so that you're not like just filing it and not remembering it.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I do experience this in my work as well. When I'm activating people into different star activations or connecting them with their galactic guides, sometimes it's quite normal. The first few activations, people will just feel like they've fallen asleep and they'll see nothing. And it's because their brain just goes, oh, I'm just going to trash can that, just like how we have a dream. You know how you have a dream and you wake up and you forget the dream and it's just gone forever? Like it's that kind of experience. I think it would be really cool if we had more reference points in the mind to be able to then recollect more of what's happening. Because I think a lot of us do, even in our sleep states, we go and we visit these different planets, or like our consciousness is doing all sorts of things when we sleep. We just don't remember any of it. So definitely a powerful contemplation, I think. Now I have to ask you about the forks. Could you demonstrate for us right now this spoon fork bending thing?
Well, we do it once a month online, and part of it is having a lot of group energy. So I don't normally just do it in the moment, and I invite anyone to go see it. We do it once a month. So Jack Houck wouldn't do it with less than 15 people.
Right.
Lynn McTaggart, heals with 8 people. It's something that your brain is not believing already because it's so outside of consensus reality. So the more people that are in it in open-minded and belief, it kind of overrides that stacking method. About 50% of the people that can bend in a group can bend by themselves afterwards. So here's how we do it. I'll tell you how we do it. And that is that we totally cause chaos. And this is the Jack Houck method. So we cause massive pandemonium during this spoon bending process. And what happens is your brain goes like, when your brain's involved, it's not happening. It's just like, it's not happening. And if you're thinking about it, worrying about it, when is it going to happen? Why isn't my bending? What's going on? How does this work? No. So when we start screaming, jumping, like, oh my God, like, you start to get like, your brain just goes, I don't even know what's going on. And then you see someone bend, and there's a cascading effect that happens throughout the entire group in one moment. And it's very interesting. And sometimes we have to pull beliefs and have to work like reprogramming their mind or something like that to try to get it to come through. But kids come free. If you do a spoon bending with us, you can invite as many people as you want to your house to do it, because that, like, we do it alone because we're all there too. But I mean, the idea is to like really create a peak emotional experience, just like the guys that speak in tongues and you like the miracle heal, it's like, it's getting beyond your logical mind.
Mm-hmm. Wow, that sounds really cool. I would definitely love to experience that stuff.
It's wild.
I'm guessing there's no touch involved. Like, are you holding the spoon or is it like?
Yeah, there's 3 levels. That box that I just showed you is just for the restaurant stuff. That's all the research for that. I do happen to have a high school bend here. So there's 3 levels. The first level is forming, which I don't have an example here, which is where the spoon gets soft and you actually bend it and you loop it around itself. This is what we call high school bending, which is very hard to actually physically bend that. And then we do the hands-off bending where you're not touching, and that's graduate school bending.
Right.
And it's interesting because we couldn't do it. I taught spoon bending for a year and a half, we could never do this. But I'd seen pictures of it, so I knew it was possible.
Mm-hmm.
And sure enough, this dude Scott did it. And then all of a sudden, 8 people did it that same night, and we've done it every party since. Same thing. The very next month, we'd never done graduate school, and all of a sudden, someone did it, and then 6 other people did it that night, and we've done it every time since. We also sprout seeds in our hands. So it's this feeling of belief, and I invite everybody watching today to think about in your life what you think is possible that you actually want, whatever it is, and realize how that belief is caging your mind and your life completely. So we were being caged for 8 months, year, whatever it was, into thinking like, well, this is a little bit too hard. And then all of a sudden we did it, and then we did it, and then we do it. And like on the last spoon bending we just had a couple days ago, this couple was there like, oh yeah, we did this thing where we took, because I was like, it doesn't matter how thick the spoon is, how whatever, that's just like your brain going like, excuse. They were like, we took a crowbar, metal. They put a crowbar in the softest part of their neck and was like, and you trust and you lean together and the whole thing bends.
Wow.
So, the things that you think are impossible in your life, whether it's getting the job or having the life or getting the trip or getting the contract or getting the right, it's all in your head that it's impossible. It's all available. You have to believe in yourself, and you have to allow for miracles. You have to allow for that reality to be a reality, and you have to attach to that reality and be like, hey, I want that. I choose that. You choose whatever you want.
It's so incredible. And what you're describing is very much like the 4-minute mile. That's a very common story, right? Like suddenly it was like, no one can do it. No one can do it. Then one guy does it, and then everyone does it now. Everyone can run a mile in under 4 minutes. It's just like, oh, the human body is actually capable of so much more than we think if we just break through those belief barriers. So Zenka, one of the other things that you do that's very cool is you have radio contact with ETs and beings. Tell us about that.
Right when we started the interview, this one went off, which was super cool.
Yeah.
Hello. So we have different radios. They're all on the same channel. And yet the beings will isolate one and just make a beep out of this. So you should have heard a beep that went through these 5. And I have 20 radios over there. So you should have heard 20 beeps, but you only heard one. So this is what we call a permission portal, where you request contact and you ask for it, and it comes through. And we have developed a code system that allows them to use a yes, no answer. So 1 beep is yes, 2 beeps is no, 3 beeps is and ask another question, 4 beeps is clapping. And it is absolutely super fun. And our research, we do these research teams where we get in groups of 8 to 12 to do impossible stuff. And the radio team went from getting beeps, and this is Jimmy Blanchett's research. So we knew how to set up the radios and put it on 144 and whatever, right? These are $25 radios. The next class we asked them to show us visuals, which they did through the computer. The next class, we asked them to use voice, which they did. And then the next class, we asked them to play music with us. So we broke through our impossible every single time with clear intentions, 8 people intending the same things, and the glee and collaboration of the other side and the ETs. It's cool.
Incredible. First of all, were these the same radios you had at the Sedona event?
Yeah.
Yeah, because I was there. I actually witnessed that. And we all saw what happened that night where one or two of the radios would go off and the rest of them wouldn't. So that was pretty incredible. Since a beep did come through at the start of this interview, do you think they'd want to come through now?
I don't know. It depends on the belief system of the people watching. So that's one of the things I've noticed is that if you get a very open, I don't know, it's just like they don't perform circus tricks. They don't care if you think they exist or not. They are not here to like do a twirl and like prove to me you're here and like, like they won't even answer me if I ask a question I know the answer to. That's how like adamant they are about not being a circus trick or not being facetious. I mean, they're intelligent. They're just like, dude, like, don't ask me questions you know the answer to. You're wasting my time. So we can, I mean, yeah, we'll see. We'll see. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't.
Just set the intention. We've still got to
Yeah.
finish on this interview. So
Yeah.
at some point
Yeah.
between now and when we finish, they want to come through. I'm more than happy for
Yeah.
that to happen.
Yeah.
It all comes through. So Zenka, you've got this organization where you do quite a bit of research. Other than, as you said, the party tricks, what do you see as the bigger vision to all of this for humanity?
So we say like we make the impossible possible. And I think that we have 6 labs right now where we do the 4-minute mile in 6 different categories. And we say, okay, let's find 100 people who levitated, 100 people who got out of wheelchairs, 100 people that found their purpose, 100 people that, are not addicted or that made contact or bent spoons. So those are our, sort of bucket labs. And the idea is that hopefully it occurs to you that, well, 95% of the people aren't living their purpose, but it occurs to you like, well, if these 100 people just ran the mile, I can too. And if we say, well, that guy got out of his wheelchair, which they said was totally out of the question, what is it that we're not understanding about healing? If people can levitate, some people can levitate, what are we not understanding about reality? And if we can break through that recursive loop of repeating the same things over and over again, we're going to get into a renaissance, a creation space, a galactic renaissance, where we'll be in fresh soil, fresh creation. And to me, that's the sweet spot of all of humanity. And I think we're already in the renaissance. We're starting to see like the girl in India is like inventing this crazy thing. The guy that's like, I mean, all of this creativity is defying the can'ts, the not possible. We can't do this. We can't, whatever. And I think it goes into our own lives. Like, I'm capable of raising millions of dollars to build a think tank that studies the impossible. And I don't know, what your purpose is. Like, I'm capable of having face-to-face contact with ETs. I'm capable of bending spoons without touching. I'm capable of ushering in a galactic renaissance. And so I'm just going to do that. And that's the attitude we have to get to so that we can experience the essence of this experience we're in right now. There was no boundary boxes placed. There was no box that we got put in when we got here. There's nothing, it's unlimited. And each one of us are born inside of a box that we don't think we can get out of or past or whatever, because we all have a mountain. You know what I mean? Like, it's taken a while for me to be like, okay, yeah, I can raise money and build this myself. I used to always like attach to other projects and companies. I was like, you guys raised millions. And now I'm like, I can just do that because this is valuable. This is evolutionary data. This is fun. This is liberating. This is important. This is human intelligence, like we talk about all the data and AI out there about like you can study 1 million cases, but studying the exception to the rule is equally valuable to know. I mean, I danced with a guy that was told he'd never walk again. Mm-hmm. And I'm like dancing with him. And I was like, cool. And what can he show us? What can he show to other people who are in these impossible situations? And I think that is empowerment. And if we empower ourselves to break through our limitation or our mountain or crying in the corner, then we empower each other, and it becomes a cascade of like, we can do this. And there's a lot of stuff we're clearing out now to make room for the new fun stuff, new schools, new ways of hospital, new travel, like, all this stuff is going to be so fun and so liberating, because it's not just the kings and queens that get to live a fantasy life anymore. It's all of us, and we're doing it together. So I think we're reaching a tipping point of love and beauty and acceptance, and people are going to start being who they came here to be. And that fresh liberation of just like, I can get away with living like my life that I really wanted to do. Where at some point we lost a belief that our dreams could come true. And I'm here to bring that back.
It's heaven on earth, right?
Yeah, it's a state of mind.
Yeah, I love it.
Heaven on earth is a state of mind. And we're starting to be like, hey, if we come together, we can totally rock this out. And we are. It's like beautiful what's happening. Open source data. That's what we're passionate about. That is liberating the world. I mean, consciousness is spreading like wildfire because everyone's sharing it. You're sharing it. Someone's sharing it on TikTok. It's just wildfire, because this information wants to be free, and we all want to be free, and we all want to like sing our song that we came here to do. And so now it's, the dematerialization of things, like everything is getting cheaper and cheaper and cheaper for the everyday person. And we're starting to get an inkling now too that you don't even need money. You just need consciousness. You need community. You need connection. You need belief in yourself, right? Because you're never going to have anything if you don't allow yourself to have it. You know what I mean? Like, it's been years and years of cleaning yourself, being like, yeah, I can receive this. I can receive this. I can live my dream, because that's the natural course of things. And that's what I think we're being encouraged to step courageously, one step at a time, into rethinking the possibilities of what this society can do and what we can do and what we can experience. My boyfriend's always like, yeah, I'm giving you more access to love. Like, let's give all of everyone around us more access to love. Because through love, everything's possible, right? It's just like, it is the currency of the world.
Absolutely. With these beings that we connect with, they seem to have a very vested interest in helping us. Any ideas why?
Well, they are us. We are them. Like, I'm an ET. You've probably an ET. I mean, like, we're walking around in this experience, in this thing. Like, sometimes I wonder, like, if this is just an experience to see if we can all get along from our different perspectives, because we are all very different in our souls, and yet we're similar. But I think the ETs want to de-restrict our playground and to invite us into a much bigger reality of other experiences, other dimensions, other experiences, other planets. And it's until we're ready in our consciousness to not be victims and to stand on our own, we're badasses. Like, humans are badasses. The ETs don't want to be worshipped. They don't want to be perpetrators. They don't want to take all of our subconscious crap. They don't want us to project our relationship onto them. They need us to be pure, just like, telepathy flows, with them. And we're so confused. We don't even say what we mean or think what we are. I mean, it's just like we still got this major mumbo jumbo situation with our conscious and unconscious mind. But humans are actually created of many ET races coming together. And we are some of the most extraordinary beings in the entire universe. And we don't even know it. And so I think we're being invited into a greater reality, like a bigger playground, but they can't do it until we're a little bit more, stable.
Zenka, did one of the things just go off, the radios?
No, that was my phone. I don't know what my phone does when it does that. Something.
Okay, I just thought I'd
But it wasn't that.
it was like
I know. Yeah, I'm hoping they want to say hi. We'll see.
okay.
No.
Yeah, beautiful. So, yeah, just continuing on that thread of us stepping out into a bigger playground, what does that mean for us? I think, look, let me just contextualize this question a little bit. So, like, I talk to a lot of people in the spiritual space and also ufology and disclosure and everything in between, right? And you get the people like yourself who are like, yeah, I just want to dive in and explore consciousness and do all the things. And then you also get the people who they're happy to just stand back on the sidelines and research it and learn about the cases and go into the case studies of all the things. But when I say to them, oh, you can actually just connect with the beings yourself, they're like, oh, no, 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 I don't want to do that. That's too scary. And so I think there's this sort of reservation that comes in from pockets of the population who maybe can't even comprehend what it would look like or what it would mean. So just paint that picture for us of, say if we did choose to embrace this as a race, what does it mean for us?
Well, it's kind of like the Magellan ship analogy that we talked about before. So, we need the materialistic thinking of like, okay, that's the crash retrieval. This is the ship, so all of it is actually important because when we have the artifacts in our present day reality, then we're going to be able to see it more and experience it more. So it's a process that has to happen, right? This desensitizing, this making it real. And I think that, then there's other layers where, the advanced ships, it's all consciousness. So it is consciousness. Consciousness is used to direct ships. You know what I mean? That's actually real. So I think it's something we get to the point where we realize that, this is like where you just go, like, this is way bigger than we ever imagined. Because when we think about modulating our brains and being able to go into overlapping realities, I have no doubt that ETs can see exactly what I'm doing whenever they want. Like, they're here. They're right here. It's not like you go out and I always tell the story, like I had this party once where we had gotten a donation that we needed to build some of the software, and everybody left. I closed the door and the radios just went whoosh, erupted, like all of them. It was like, wow. So I want to have, and I always say, like, I want to have ETs in my parties. I want to have, so that's what we're looking for. We are going to have direct face-to-face contact very soon with a lot of people. And it's going to be like, oh, there's a green guy at my front door, right? It's like, are we ready? Are you ready for this? And it's almost easier to think like, okay, they landed on a ship and they're coming to my door. That's a little bit more what we're used to than having someone phase in, which they can do.
Yeah.
Right. So I think it's just calming down ourselves, because I don't believe that base reality is malevolent or fearful or mean or anything. So I think once we start to relax and trust that this is all supposed to be good and done in love, and if it's not, it's our own paranoia coming out and being like, paranoia. It's the DNA in us that's like, no, I don't like this. I don't like how this feels. It doesn't feel natural, doesn't feel, whatever negativity we have about the world is our own inconsistent paranoia is creating that reality for us. So yeah, for me, the Galactic Renaissance is a state of wonder. It's like the Renaissance. The Renaissance man is someone who is like an everyday person, but knows how to write and draw and read. Like, the amount of knowledge transfer and delight that's going to happen when we're in a Galactic Renaissance is that we're going to live till we're 1,000, period, right? We're going to understand how to heal ourselves better. We are going to visit other planets. We are going to have interesting conversations. We're going to see things from new angles. It's just like before when we were traveling, like crossing the ocean, going like, what are you? What language do you speak? Like, what is this? Like, it's just a moment of anthropological delight. and it's waiting for us to happen. And we're pretty much there. Like, it's happening. It's just like, it's right around the corner. I mean, it's here. I mean, it's here for some of us, but it's like also just relaxing and realizing that we're also badasses, that no one can hurt us, that our destiny is to, I don't know, lead in love. Like, I don't know. It's just, I don't know. When we fight each other, when there's conflict, it's just because we're sad and mad. And I think when we go into the higher emotions and we realize that we're all one and we're all part of this, and we sink or swim all together, like we finally evolve and we're part of their evolution and we're all evolving. They're evolving, we're evolving. So let's stop fighting and start having fun.
Do you think that people will still do everyday things like go to work and, earn money? Or do you think some of those structures will change as well?
Oh, totally change. Totally change. I mean, because AI is destroying every job that ever was. Like someone said the other day, you better like your job because you're going to be doing it. It's going to become your hobby. Like if you look at AI and a rapid change, you're looking at a bell curve that goes straight up. Like you have no idea. Like you started this year to realize like, wow, AI is pretty fucking insane. Excuse me. But if you take that and compound it in 2 years, you're just gonna be like, what is going on? Right?
Right.
It's going to collapse. And everything's going to collapse until we get it in our heads. This is all consciousness, right? So if we fear and like really panic, we're going to have a really panicked and fearful reality to be amongst. And this is scary. I can tell you, I know it is. It's hard to be like, oh yeah, I'm responsible for this. My consciousness, my state of being, like I used to experience this the last 2 days. I was in a horrible mood. I was in total panic about a big change in my life. And I just watched it cascade in every single person around me. And I was like, whoa. And then I got back on the horse today and I was like, everything was great. And then I just watched the whole thing snap back in place.
Isn't that such a beautiful confirmation of your ability to impact your reality? I mean, we think that it's someone else or they are responsible, whoever they is in your reality, And then when you actually notice, well, I calmed myself down and suddenly my world is okay. Isn't that such a beautiful validation?
It's a beautiful validation. And sometimes it feels like a scary responsibility because if you're like, sometimes if you're not taking care of your body, you just see it. You're like, wow, they are going through horrible things because they're just a fractal reflection of your state. So cultivating your inner world is of utmost importance for all of us because we're all connected. And what you do inside your body with your thoughts is of utmost importance because it's actually not only going to affect what you experience, but it affects all the people you love, right? Because they're in your world. They are connected at the core to you. And so when you love yourself, you're loving another. When you've taken care of yourself, you're taking care of the people that you love. It's bizarre.
Could you give us some practical steps just to really ground in this conversation? We've spoken a lot about very expansive concepts about reality, but when it comes to the everyday stuff, for the average person who wants to expand their consciousness, but maybe they're feeling a bit stuck, maybe they don't know where to begin, what practical advice and tips can you give them?
So one of the things we were talking about last night in our Waking Induced Lucid Dreaming is bracelets. So you have a bracelet, just one, and whenever you're experiencing something that you don't prefer, you change the bracelet. You're like, wow, I don't prefer this. Why am I creating this? First of all, try to take responsibility more for what's happening.
Right.
And so the act of changing the bracelet by acknowledging you're creating something, an experience that you don't prefer. And believe me, I have created terrible experiences for myself, right? That's also growth. So the second thing is, so notice when you're experiencing things you don't prefer and love yourself and the ones around you because everyone's just doing the best they can, right? Number 2, embrace challenges, disasters, illnesses. Those are your big growth moments. Your soul would not be doing that stuff to you. It would not be wrecking your car or making you ill or getting you fired if it wasn't trying to get you on a better road, right? Those are last case scenarios. Those are like, we can't get in touch with her. We're going to do this. So embrace those hard situations as an opportunity to self-reflect, because it's like, okay, why is this happening? Like, be curious, right, about why things are happening and work on, my friend Adam used to say, like, gratitude has saved him a lot. Like, when his life was not going well, it was just like gratitude, 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 because something about the way that your state of mind is also going to generate a better reality. And then on the flip side, let yourself dream of who you want to be and let yourself believe that you can do it. And in my case, I had to, like, no one else believed in me, like, literally, probably because I didn't believe in myself. It's a reflective surface, right, that we're living in. So it's like, I didn't truly believe in myself. And so nobody else was believing in me or something. I don't know what was going on, but I guess that's like when you take responsibility. So believe in yourself. If you want to have an ET contact experience, just ask and believe that it can happen and just take the baby steps, because no matter where you are, how successful you are, whatever you're doing, baby steps is the only way you're going to get there. I mean, you can leap too, but I'm just saying, like, get out of your comfort zone a little bit every day, because that's your learning. That's your growth. Nothing is going to happen if you just stay where you are. And when your heart leads you out of your comfort zone, there's gold. There is gold, gold, gold right there. Because when your heart is guiding you, that's your manifestation. That's like where everything blooms. Yeah, and then just spend some more time in silence and contemplation, because no one can save you. No one can tell you what your purpose is. No one can tell you how to heal yourself. No one can. I mean, I would really love if we trusted ourselves more, and if I trusted myself more, and if I had trusted myself more, because nobody has the answers and nobody has your answers. You could ask for a sign, you could ask for advice, you could find people that you follow and people that you love. But at the end of the day, the only answers that are going to help you are from inside of you. And that takes a second to figure out how to listen to yourself, how to listen to your soul, how to listen. It's not like easy,
I think that's a beautiful note to finish on, Zenka. The biggest thing I've learned from today's conversation is the importance of cultivating the inner world. I mean, you're doing so many amazing things with, just making the impossible possible, but it all begins within. It all begins with the internal self, the internal beliefs, cultivating that inner self. So thank you so much for reminding us of that beautiful message. And I hope that anyone who listens to this episode today will take that on board and take action on that, by, even if it's just spending 5 extra minutes in meditation today to really find out who you really are. So thank you so much, Zenka, for being here with us today. It's been a pleasure having you on the show.
Yeah, thanks so much. Thanks so much for having me. I love what you're doing, and happy that your community is, like, in a state of curiosity, because what you're talking about is really amazing, like, ideas, and you're so smart, and I love the way that you've guided so many of these conversations. So thank you for all that you're doing.
Thank you so much. And for everyone listening in, if you enjoyed today's conversation, please check out Zenka Caro on lightnet.com. And also you can check out her
.org. We're a nonprofit. Yeah.
.org. Thank you for correcting that. Lightnet.org. And you can go check out the spoon bending parties. And also remember to give us a like, share, and subscribe on First Contact to keep the good message going around the globe. Thank you, everyone, and see you guys next time.